Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for joining me for another review, guys. And if this is your first time on the channel, if you could please do us a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave us a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about this bourbon, if you've tried it before, what your thoughts are on it, and we'll get the conversation going here at the Whiskey Explorer. And tonight, guys, we have got another barrel strength bourbon for you, barrel proof bourbon. We have got the Old Ezra 7-year-old. All right, and the Old Ezra 7-year-old comes to us from Lux Row Distillers, and Lux Row Distillers is a non-distilling producer who sources their whiskey. So previous to their recent buyout, so MGP has recently bought Lux Row Distilling and all of their umbrella of brands. It was quite a bit of a topic there in the whiskey world about 6 months or so ago. They bought them out, so Lux Row has several different bourbon brands. So they've got David Nicholson, they've got the Blood Oath, they've got Davies County, and the Old Ezra 7, of course, and some more brands as well. And they also have other spirits as well in their portfolio. But they are sourcing their bourbon, and prior to that MGP takeover, they were sourcing from, the rumor was, Heaven Hill. So it's nice to get a 7-year-old Heaven Hill barrel strength at 58.5% alcohol by volume at a very reasonable price. So here in Canada, this bottle was about $80, which for us in Canada, for a barrel strength bourbon, that's a very good price here in Victoria, BC, in my market. I know in other markets like Alberta, it was even cheaper when it came over from the States. But if you're in the States, you can find this for about $45. So that is a great value for a barrel strength bourbon, especially one that's rumored to be from Heaven Hill. And MGP actually recently changed their name for their distilling to Ross and Squibb. Not a huge fan of that name by any means, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this Lux Row brand goes now that they'll probably be using the MGP stocks for their bourbons. So this one here is 7 years old. Again, it's bottled at 58.5% alcohol by volume. So it's actually interesting, though. This one here, it says right on the label that it is distilled and aged in Kentucky for Lux Row Distillers in Bardstown, Kentucky. And actually, that's interesting because it also says on the label that it is charcoal mellowed. So charcoal mellowed is typically the Lincoln County process, where it's filtered through charcoal to give some smoothness, and it's thought to round out the rough edges. Very famous distillery that uses it is Jack Daniel's. I am not a fan of Jack Daniel's No. 7, but the barrel strength is fantastic. So we will see how this charcoal mellowing does with this Kentucky sourced bourbon as opposed to the Tennessee bourbon. All right, let's get into the review on this one here. All right, so quick look at the color on the glass here. Right down the middle, sort of medium copper color. There's a bit of color to it, but not a ton. So it's not super dark or anything, but nice color to it nonetheless. Let's go in for a nose on this one. Cheers. Just a really rich, sweet, desserty type nose to this one. There's lots of deep brown sugar, caramel, butterscotch notes. So a little bit of cinnamon in the background, some vanilla up front. A little bit of dark cherry, but that's way, way, way in the background there. The fruit note isn't super prominent on this. It's mostly caramel, butterscotch, toffee, brown sugar, a little bit of molasses, ton of sweetness to this. It's very much a dessert whiskey type of nose. There might even be a little bit of chocolate on this one as well, a little bit of milk chocolate in the background. It's just a very, very sweet, very inviting nose. Man, that's a really nice nose. Tons of caramel, butterscotch, toffee, buttery kind of note to this one. Let's go in for a sip. Cheers. Wow. This is a really nice palate on this one. There is, right up front, I didn't pick it up so much on the nose, but there's a ton of dark cherry in the initial at the start, at the front of the palate. It's all the deep fruits. It's the dark cherry, strawberries, mixed in with some vanilla cream. Then there's brown sugar, molasses. The mid palate starts to develop into there's a little bit of a drying sort of mid palate there. And it sort of evolves into the baking spices. So there is a nice amount of spicing on here. Baking spices, so think of like cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, a little bit of white pepper in the background. Nice Kentucky hug going down. I took a big sip there, so spread it around my palate. It is fairly mouth coating. It's not super, super oily, like it doesn't completely cover the palate, but there is a decent mouthfeel there. I moved it around my palate quite a bit. It's still coating now. A little bit of waxiness there. Brown sugar, caramel. These are very traditional, right down center plate bourbon flavors. Really inviting on the palate. Really nice, super, super good balance here. So the sourcing on this and the blending is done really well. It's very nicely balanced. You have a nice sweetness, fruitiness, brown sugar and caramel up front. Then there's an evolution to the spice in the background when you get to the mid palate and finish. A little bit of a drying aspect there, but not off-putting in any way. Really nice dram here. Let's go in for a second sip and see if we can pull some more flavors here now that my palate's kind of acclimated to the barrel proof strength there, the 58.5%. All right, cheers, second sip. Man, I think this bourbon's going to be a real crowd pleaser. If you're a barrel strength bourbon fan, I think you're going to love this. It's got all the sweetness up front. So nice sweet vanilla, a bit of sweet oak. Actually now I'm getting the sweet oak as well in there, which I really love. I love that sweet oak note. Love that. It's got the vanilla, almost a toasted marshmallow feel to it. Strawberries and cream, cherry. It's delicious. There's some honey in there, a little bit of molasses. Then the evolution as you go along here, in the mid palate it switches to all kind of nice spicing. So baking spices. So there's a nice heat to it. There's some cinnamon there, a little bit of black pepper. There's a real spiciness to the finish on this, and the finish actually hangs out for a decent amount of time. So I would say that's definitely a long finish on this one, medium to long. Very nice on the palate. It is mouth coating. It's really nice to see that at the barrel strength. It doesn't say on here that it is non-chill filtered. I'll check the back really quick, but no, it doesn't say that. But still a really good mouthfeel. That's fantastic. And I think if you're in the States, this is a no-brainer for a pickup at $45, even $50. That's a buy all day. Highly recommend this. So really good dram here. It'll be really interesting to see where Lux Row goes with this. I'm really hoping they retain that 7-year age statement and that it can be MGP. I also love older MGP, so that would be a welcome addition to their lineup. So we'll see how that kind of transition goes. But thanks so much for joining me for this review, guys. Highly recommend checking out the old Ezra 7-year-old. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drowns be fuller. Cheers.